Hello, friends and believers. Do you know that you may think your problem is anger, control, procrastination, perfectionism, or people pleasing? But what if fear is underneath it all? Let us chit chat about that. Hey, this is Karen Booth. I'm the baggage handler, and I help you handle the baggage that is festering in your soul. When most people hear the word fear, they think arachnophobia, spiders or snakes or heights or public speaking or the dark. But the kind of fear that puts us in these places of procrastination and perfectionism is way more subtle than that. So let's start with the definition. Oh, and today I am drinking orange pico tea, sweetened with turbinado and a little lemon. When you come in, tell me what's in your cup and where you're watching from. So, fear is defined as an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. The key word here is anticipation. Fear is not usually about what's happening right now. Fear is about what you think might happen next. Now, let's talk about confidence. Confidence is the quality of or state of being certain. Now, those sound like opposites, don't they? Well, kind of are. Confidence says, I'm certain. Fear says, what if? And what ifs would wear me out in staff meetings when I was working for the government. Because it was always somebody, you get a rule, you get a new instruction, you get a new directive, you get a new policy, and some person, and it was usually the same person in every meeting. Well, what if? Baby, stop it. Worry about what if it happens. Okay? Confidence says, I know. Fear says, maybe. Confidence says, let's go. Fear says, hold on. So, how do people lose their confidence? Usually because they get hurt. Betrayal can erode confidence. Abandonment can erode confidence. Rejection can erode confidence. I thought about another one after I wrote this out. This embarrassment can destroy confidence because you might be up, in front of some people making a speech like this, or doing something, and you have really, really prepared. You have really prepared, but somebody who is loud and with a different opinion than yours might try to discredit you in front of all the people. And so now you're flustered. You weren't prepared for that because it wasn't planned to be that type of setting. So now embarrassment can definitely erode your confidence. Disappointment can erode your confidence. Church hurt can potentially erode your confidence. Failure can definitely erode your confidence. Every one of those experiences attacks you being certain about what you're doing, about what you're feeling, about what you think. Before the hurt, you were certain. You were certain that they loved you. You were certain that they had your back. You were certain that your job was secure. You were certain that the dream that you had planned was going to work out exactly the way that you planned it. Then something happened, and now certainty has been replaced with questions and doubt. When confidence is damaged, fear oftentimes moves in. That's why fear doesn't always show up looking like fear, right? It can show up looking like anger. It can show up looking like control. Again, we're in perfectionism because if somebody has made you look like you've messed up in front of somebody, now you want to go into perfectionism and you want to worry about every little single thing. It can look like procrastination. I'm not going to do it Because what if it's wrong, which then goes into self sabotage? Because what if you procrastinate your way out of a promotion, right? It looks like people pleasing, which a lot of times other people interpret that as kissing up. There we go. Kissing up. That's a good phrase. Kissing up. It looks like avoidance. It looks like, I mean, you could tell her to do something, but she's gonna figure out every kind of way not to do it because you don't want to commit. It can look like overthinking. Give her something to do, she's gonna think it to death. She's gonna beat it to death. She's gonna worry it to death. She's gonna process it to death. She's gonna get paralyzed in the analyzing. It can look like hyper independence. Yeah, you can give her something to do because she's gonna do it all by herself. She's gonna ask somebody for help because because now she thinks she know everything. Or it can look like self protection. Girl, no, I'm not going to tell my brother to talk to her because she is just so broke up, and so she's just gonna protect herself. Hey, Miss Tina, and so you put all these walls up around you, right? And so underneath all of those behaviors is often a person whose confidence has been wounded. So the enemy loves wounded confidence because wounded confidence is photographed lies. Because once your confidence is damaged, then the lies begin. Now, if you go back and look at, you have to go on YouTube, and if you go back and look at my teachings on the soul and how each part of the soul has a function, like your intellect wants a reason. Your will, excuse me, your will wants to make a decision. Each part of the soul has a part in it of you that there is searching for an answer. It wants closure. It wants all these things, and they're very active. And you might start thinking something that's not true because you've been hurt. You haven't yet opened the door for forgiveness. And so now your soul, your mind, your will, your emotion, your intellect, your imagination, your understanding, it's all looking for a reason. It's all looking for a way to make whatever happened okay. And so in the midst of all of this, you might start believing some sort of lie. Okay? Once confidence is damaged, the lies begin. Maybe the lie starts out as I'm not enough. Maybe the lie starts out as nobody can be trusted. Maybe the lie is I have to do everything for myself because the person that you thought was going to be there was not. Maybe the lie is I'll always be abandoned. Maybe the lie is nothing ever works out for me. And if all those lies sit in your mind long enough, they sit up here and you don't address them. The Bible says to take captive every thought. If you don't address them, they stop sounding like lies and they start sounding like the truth. Because you haven't picked up the Bible to say, well, if I think I'm not enough, well, what does the Bible say about me being enough? Well, the Bible says you're chosen. So, dear believer, just because a thought is familiar does not mean it is true. Just because a thought is loud does not mean it is true. And just because a painful experience happened does not mean it gets to define who you are. And I would go on to say, just because your mama said it doesn't make it true. Just because your daddy or whoever was in charge of you, just because the authority figure in your life said it, does not make it true. I forgot to turn this off. And just because a painful experience happened does not mean that is who you are. Are you tracking with me? So here's how the cycle of lies develops. The hurt happens, the fear develops, the lie settles in, and then me, he, she, them begin living from the lie instead of living from the truth. The truth is found in the Word of God. I would admonish you, dear believer, that if you say you love the Lord and you are saved and all these things, that if you feel like you need validation from somewhere else other than God, I would admonish you to pick up the Bible and read Ephesians chapters 1 and 3. I just would. Just do that and see how you feel after that. So here's what you need to think about between now and Friday, because Tea and Truth is now on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I'm gonna leave these little nuggets with you Tuesday, and we're gonna pick them back up on Friday. What fear might be hiding underneath the behaviors that you have been calling your personality? Hey, on, drive safely, sweetheart. What fears might be hiding underneath your anger or your perfectionism or your procrastination or your people pleasing or your need for self control? And what lie has that fear been whispering to you? And I would even go so far as to say, what lie has been creeping in your subconscious about you self sabotaging? And when I say self sabotage, I mean you have a goal, but every decision that you make is completely against that goal. You want to write a book. That's a goal. But girl, you don't even go buy a new notebook to take no notes in. Hey, Michelle, you don't even go buy a new notebook to take notes in. You don't write down any topics, but you go and you buy a new pair of shoes. That's not related to your goal. So a lot of things, a lot of behaviors, a lot of negative behaviors, the source, they all spring out. Let me spring out, go this way. They all spring out from fear. And fear is birthed because you got hurt some kind of way in the past. So on Freedom Friday, we're going to talk about the lies that fear writes on your soul and how those lies quietly undermine your confidence. Because the whole thing about me coaching on forgiveness is that what I found is that the more I forgave, the more I healed from the hurt that hurt me in childhood, in adolescence, in early adulthood, last year. The more healed I became from that hurt, the more confident I became in walking in the things that God had for me. And it wasn't overnight, and it wasn't magic, and it required some work, and it required some attention. And it required some getting out there. Just even even in spite of I don't quite exactly know what I'm doing. Like when I started this broadcast last year in June, I had no idea what God was doing. None. In a few weeks, I will have accomplished something super major and I will share it with you. But I'm not going to share it with you today because I'm not finished yet. But at any rate, it would be something that if I was still bound in hurt and lies, I would never have done this. If I was still dealing with the hurt, if I was still dealing with the lies, and if I was still making my decision based on the fear that those lies had projected onto me, I wouldn't be a book author. I wouldn't be a life coach. I wouldn't be a songwriter. It would be so many things that I would not be, right? So if we're ever going to walk in freedom, in purpose, in confidence, in peace, we have to stop believing lies that God that God didn't never tell us this, right? So we have to look at God, Miss Cena. Won't He make a way? We have to stop believing the lies because God. If you are sitting there thinking, "I can't do it," or "I'm not enough," or "They're going to reject me," let me help you with this rejection. Then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. When you go to your neighborhood store, whether it is Walmart, Dollar General, Family Dollar, whoever, and you need some paper towels, your brand, my brand of paper towel is Viva. I like how they feel. I go pick Viva off the paper towel rack. Left on the paper towel rack is Brownie, Bounty, Scott, the store brand, all the other things, all the other brands. It's about 13 brands of paper towels. I don't go down the paper towel row and say, I reject all of you because I like Viva. I just choose Viva because that's the one I like. You like Viva too. I like that cloth. Yes. Anyway, so when we're talking about rejection, people just people just need what or who they need. And I may not be the coach for I am not the coach for everybody. There's too many people in the world. So let's stop personalizing rejection and let's start. You like Bounty? Now Bounty ain't bad. I just like Viva. See, here we go. Here we go. Everybody will talk and see. Everybody accepts um what does the job for them, right? And so the lie that you're rejected, well, maybe that one boyfriend, maybe that one girlfriend, maybe that one job, maybe that one whatever, you were not the one that they wanted. And clearly they were not the one for you, even though you applied. There's your yes is out there. Your yes is out there. You just can't let the one or the two or the 15 no's make you stop looking for the one yes. Because when the one yes comes, then you find your peaceful, happy place. So anyway, so again, if we're ever going to walk in freedom, purpose, confidence, and peace, we have to stop believing the lies that God never said about us. So we're going to work on getting our confidence back. All right. And with that, I will see y'all Friday for Freedom Friday at 4:30. Y'all have a great day. I love y'all. See you soon.